Hello, everyone, and welcome back. Today, I wanted to talk about a topic that is coming up or that has been coming up with two clients. I have two clients who both started beginning of June. I am recording this at the end of July, and we have been coaching weekly with both of these clients ever since they started their job. And they're getting to a point where they're over the honeymoon phase and they're starting to peel back some of the things that maybe they didn't want to see up front or were questioning. And so I wanted to talk today about what I see people go through, and maybe you're going through this too. And it might just not be after 2 months, but it could be in a new job in general, about what you can do when it's messy and what you can do when the job is actually not really what you expected. And I have talked about this, about navigating ambiguity in a different episode. So I encourage you to go back and listen to that. But today, I really want you to think about if you took on a job and you had a certain expectation. Most of the time, that job doesn't 100% fully be in line with the expectations or what we thought it was going to be like. And so after 2 months, most people are over the honeymoon phase. And so I wanted to talk to you about what you can do if it is messy for you too. And it could be messy after 2 months or after 6 months or even after a year. But I personally think that this is a huge opportunity for you. So I want to walk you through a little bit what I suggest you do if it's messy and if your job doesn't tick all the boxes that you thought it would. So the first thing that I always suggest you do is to clarify with your boss and with HR, so with the human resource person. Because between the time that you interviewed and the time that you came on, things could have changed, evolved, decisions have been made, other people have come and gone. I mean, there's so much, a company is a living, breathing organism. And so things change all the time. So I would just clarify and ask, this is what I was hired to do. Things are maybe not what I expected. And so could you just help me understand? That is one way to address it. And I would keep all of the emotion out of it. At this point in time, kind of earlier on, I would stick to the facts. I was hired to lead the team, and I'm actually doing the exact same thing as the other team members. Or I was hired to manage a department, and everybody's left, and now we can't hire. So stick with the facts when you have that conversation, and try to clarify and simply understand what is going on. Because there could be things going on in the background that you don't know, but at least you will have tried to clarify using facts and be honest about what you're going through and about what you're feeling. Do not use it to complain. Go in with a neutral attitude. I've observed. I'm curious about. Could you tell me why this is like this? Using that kind of language is going to help you have those conversations. So that is the first point, is to try and clarify. Now, sometimes you will get some information. Most of the time, you won't. And that is normal. I'm sorry to tell you, but companies are messy. Departments are messy. Things are moving all the time. And so that is when you need to decide if you want to be able to live with messy. And I think it's a big opportunity when things are messy. And I just want to start off with a story first, which I was hired to head up Europe in a company. And very soon after I was hired, like very soon after, within, I don't know, maybe 2 months, the CEO, so I was reporting to the CEO, he left. And then it was kind of very messy. I'll just put it like that. And it was messy. Of course, when there was no senior leadership, it was messy. And I had a choice. I could either see it as an opportunity or I could leave. And when things like that happen, when there are changes in leadership or simply it takes time also to hire people, I mean, you need to decide if you can accept messy. And there's no right or wrong answer. Some people cannot live in messy. They need structure. They need a clearly defined job description. They need to know expectations, which I think is, if you can have that, that's great. If things are messy, then you get to decide, and this is where your power lies, how to show up. And I think that's a beautiful opportunity because it is your time to shine. And so the question that I always ask my clients, in this case, when it's messy and it's not exactly in line with what you thought it would be, how would a department head show up? How would an SVP show up? Because those are the jobs that they were hired to do, and things are not exactly going as planned. So that is simply, what would you do? What would she do in this situation? So I think it's an opportunity because you're learning something, you're evolving. But it's really a personal decision and there's no right or wrong answer. But that, just asking yourself and staying in that self-concept of, okay, it's kind of bizarre right now, not really what I expected. How can I stay in my lane? How can I follow my guiding star? I think what's really important also to think about in these situations is, do you like the company? That's a big question. Is there a cultural fit between you and the company? Do you like the people? Those things count for a lot. But also, be honest with yourself about your tolerance for messy, because sometimes it just, like I said, it doesn't suit you. So be honest with yourself. And so I have a client and who is going through this right now, and she has decided to give it 6 months. She's not really expecting things in her department or within her team to really clear up, but she thinks that something in the company could either open up, clarify the situation. Her boss could eventually leave. So she's very clear that, okay, I'm willing to stick this out for 6 months. In the meantime, I'll also look for a job elsewhere, just in case. But making a decision about what you want to do will also help you feel better, because these situations are extremely destabilizing. You're feeling like you're on a boat and the boat is moving and you never know which way the boat is going to shift, and you're always trying to catch your feet. So have a plan, make a decision about how you want to feel. So that's kind of the first part of this discussion. The second part of the discussion is when things are messy, but you actually have power over the situation so that you can make it a little less messy. In that case, a lot of this is coming from, and this is another coaching client that I had this week, a lot of this is coming from simply not clarifying expectations. And we have expectations of someone. And this is usually, I'm talking about somebody who reports to us, but we haven't really clearly defined those expectations, or we haven't reiterated those expectations. So that is also an opportunity to make things a little less messy. In this case, my client there's a big initiative and wasn't getting enough information about how the initiative was advancing and what decisions were being made and if the timeline was being respected or not. And so things were kind of messy. But in this case, he actually had the power to clean up some of the mess. And so as a leader, that is a different situation, but it is your responsibility to make it less messy. So if you are finding yourself in a situation where you don't have the information, your team members don't keep you posted, you have no idea what decisions are being made, then bring your team together, explain to them, even if you have to re-explain what your expectation is, what you expect them to give you for information. When do you expect to be consulted or not on a given decision? So all of this to say that life in the office is messy. And there are times where you will not be able to control it, but you can control how you show up and how you want to be, act, and what your attitude is when things are messy. And there are other circumstances where things are messy and you need to take responsibility because you have probably let things slide, maybe haven't clarified expectations, and that is your job to make things less messy. So if you find yourself kind of pulling your hair out over these situations, so number one, I can help. These are exactly the kind of situations that we talk through every single week with my client. And just to have a mirror and somebody play it back to you, what is going on, what they're seeing, it gives new perspective, it gives new ideas, it clarifies your intuition. But the bottom line is you need to decide to take action and do something about the messiness. So this episode is going to come out at the end of July, really on a Wednesday. If you are listening to this on a Wednesday or Thursday until the end of July, I am offering for September a 6-week coaching sprint to help you figure out and clarify and get really clear about a situation and about what you can do about it. And so in that coaching sprint between now, so end of July and July 31st midnight, you can sign up with a down payment, a very minimal down payment, and book your spot and pay the rest at the end of August and September for a 6-week coaching sprint. And this is exactly the kind of situation that we can work through. So I will put everything in the show notes. Please don't wait. These things take up so much brain energy, and talking through these different situations with a coach, that is going to help you get unstuck and have a job in the office that is a little less messy. So ladies and gentlemen, please check out the show notes. I would love to work with you to help you work through one of these situations. Messiness is just one of them, but it comes up often. So I thought it was perfectly relevant for today's conversation. Thanks everyone, and we'll talk soon. Bye.